Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. We are doing more artwork for the Posthomerica project. I'll post a link to it in the chat here for anybody who doesn't know about it. I am actually producing my own edition of a ancient Greek epic story with my own illustrations. And also we are producing an audiobook, which I'm also partially making live on stream. We've done a bunch of episodes of that. We've done episodes of the art. This is sort of a rough version of the art for chapter 2 or book 2, which is where Memnon comes to Troy. The basic concept, if we switch it to be like this is kind of like a little bit of a less rough version of it. And if you look at this, that's kind of the full composition, but in super rough form. The idea is that Memnon's in the center of the sun, being the son of the dawn. He's literally the son of the goddess who controls the rise of the sun. So that's kind of like imagery of his. And then he's surrounded by birds flying, because that's an important part of this chapter, is that there's like a lot of avian imagery, as you will find out. We haven't gotten to that part yet in the chapter while we're editing it. But so I'm currently just kind of putting in the line work. I sort of like the lumpy circle. I didn't want to use like a perfect circle on here, because in the actual Greek pottery it does look lumpy like that. I might try to clean it up a little bit, but I'm liking the way it's turning out so far. I'm trying to decide if I want the sun to be black or white. We don't have any of the things filled in yet, so it's kind of hard to read visually, probably for you guys, but use your imagination that all of the figures have white outlines and they're filled in with black, kind of like Achilles is in the other picture. Left bird, top left. So right now we're working on the various birds in the picture, and I want to just kind of rough them in, just get their general outlines in there. Uh-oh, are we crashing here? There we go. So let me zoom into my reference of these birds. There's a really cool piece of Greek pottery of like I'm not sure who it is depicting. It's somebody shooting a slingshot at birds, and it's pretty cool looking imagery. So I'm kind of inspired by, with all these pieces of artwork, I don't really intend to, I'm not necessarily like drawing my own stuff. I'm sort of like combining existing imagery from Greek pottery. How do I, hold on a second. There we go. So these birds actually come from an existing piece of pottery. Okay, so let's take this one. Oh, I see it here yet. This one is this. Whoa. Oh, for some reason it didn't save my brush settings. I'm pretty sure it was like 10. Something like 10. And why is it also black? This app that I'm using to do artwork on the PC is in beta, so it's a little clumsy sometimes, and it seems like this is the cause of Photoshop crashing a pretty decent amount. And it also has some weird stuff where, like, when I open Photoshop back up, it will not really save some of the settings, but I think the benefits really outweigh whatever detriments there are. Okay, yeah, that looks like a similar brush to what we just had. These birds are really cool looking. They have some cool kind of like designs on them. I would like to capture some of that. Just kind of going off book here with the it's important not to get too trapped by your own reference drawing. Is this the correct brush stuff? Yeah. Yeah, avian imagery is a big thing in this MEMNON chapter, and I wanted to get some bird stuff in there. Almost every piece of artwork depicting MEMNON has like a bird flying in somewhere in the picture to kind of depict that or represent that, and I thought it would be cool to have the entire thing kind of like covered in birds. It's also kind of a tough it's a tough one to come up with a picture for, because it's sort of the same exact storyline, this chapter, on paper at least, like in terms of what you would depict. It's like a big battle between Achilles and Memnon, which is sort of the same thing as what the Penthesilea chapter was, so I didn't want it to be the same, you know, like Achilles on one side, Memnon on the other side. Even all the existing Greek artwork of Memnon is usually that. It's like a picture of Achilles fighting Memnon, and I didn't want it to just be like, oh, this artwork's kind of the same one as what we did last chapter, so I think this is kind of a cool design. I like it even better in a lot of ways than what we have for the previous chapter, so I'm happy about that. These birds have some really cool like spots or something. I don't know what it's supposed to depict, but it's a really interesting design. I had some fun with Memnon as well. He has some really cool, in this one piece of artwork, I really heavily took from this one, so I almost kind of essentially just used the concept design of Memnon from this one piece of Greek artwork where he's fighting Achilles, but instead of having him fight, I sort of just put him inside of the sun image, and he has some really great armor in that picture, so I try to capture that. Okay, good. And then this is going to have its own like a hard line, I guess, or maybe not actually. We'll see. These birds have a cool two-tone thing going on. There's like three colors. There's this outline color, which in the bird one is sort of gold, but I'm using the same color that I used for MEMNON, just so it's all kind of uniform. So there's that outline color. There's the black, the inside of the bird, and then there is a red, and it's kind of like these sort of like highlight spots in red that I think are really cool. Okay. And I'm kind of intentionally, like I still haven't done the entire Penthesilea picture to its perfect, like, finished state, because I don't want any of these to be done at this stage in the process. It's too early to finish the artwork because we might have unforeseen stuff that we need to do with it. For example, with the Penthesilea one, I actually put it into like the like a preview version of what it'll look like on Kindle, and I realized that the way that the Kindle displays the art, it'll crop it so that the borders don't look good when they are shown. So we're actually going to remove the borders for the Penthesilea one, and then for this one I was able to start out knowing that. So we're kind of able to sort of change on the fly here, and without having done 14 pictures that all have borders that we then have to like retrofit. Now we can just be like, okay, starting with chapter 2, we're just not even going to make borders. And the thing can go full bleed to the edge. Okay, so that's another bird. I'm curious to try just like one of these. Oops. There. Let's just do one fill for this. So let's really kind of dig in here. I wonder what's faster, this or just making a bigger brush and going in. This might honestly be faster. And all the figures are going to be filled with black. It's kind of a common visual for Greek pottery. It's one of the most distinct artistic kind of like flourishes of Greek pottery, which I think is really cool, is these black figures with white outlines, which makes it super stand out against the background. Yeah, especially for this part, doing the lasso would have been a huge waste of time. And it also gives us that kind of like somewhat imperfect sense because it's a little closer to what they would have really done to paint in these sections in, with traditional media. And even though we're doing this digitally, I still wanted to have that kind of like handcrafted feel of like the lines not being perfect and the stuff not being like exact. So that's the bird filled in, and then we're gonna do, I'm just gonna try and get like a rough version of this red. Maybe something like this. And we'll use this red for every instance. So it's kind of like an orangey red, maybe like this. Let's see where we want this. And the interesting thing is that it doesn't necessarily touch, it's not like conforming to any particular lines. It sort of goes outside the lines and also doesn't touch the edges where you'd expect it to. It has kind of like it just very much breaks the rules of what you would think it should do, which it's kind of like what I think is coolest about it. And we can make our own little spots if we feel anything needs it. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so now let's just turn this grayscale for a second, because what we have to remember is that we're making this for Kindle, which is in grayscale. So when you're reading it on an iPad or you're reading it on an iPhone, it'll be in color, but it's a Kindle thing. So people who are reading it on an actual Kindle, a lot of times if you use a hue that's too close to each other, it will just look like the same. You won't even see the difference. So this, we correctly did it. Good. Okay, that looks great. I like that. So this is, we'll just try to stay organized with this. Oops. So that's that one bird just done, and we'll leave it filled in. I'm trying to resist the urge to do too much detail before all the stuff is in, because I think we got a little carried away with the Penthesilea one of not focusing on the bigger picture. So let's do the rest of these birds before we do anything. Okay, which bird am I actually drawing here? I want to say it's this one. L bird top right. Okay, and this one's pretty small. Whoa. Oh, right, I still have this big size. Okay. A lot of these birds are really cool. I'm trying to take some of them I'm just kind of using for inspiration specifically, and some of them I'm trying to just take elements from. Yeah, this one I think I'm just taking elements from because I don't really know where some of these ideas came from. Yeah, and the red is used to really cool effect on these birds, and I think that's going to allow us to do some cool stuff with Memnon and with the sun as well. Now that we're kind of committed to this color scheme, I think these birds are really, really paying off in more ways than one. They don't just add to the composition, but they're also going to give us a lot of cool stuff we can do with this, with these colors. This particular bird is so cool. I'm really excited to color this one in. Okay. Okay. Now this one is, yeah, we're just going to make an outline for it. It has kind of a cool thing going on though, where the feathers actually kind of extend past the edge of the outline. Yeah. Let's actually move his head. Because we're probably going to have to redo the head actually. I don't want it to intersect with the wing because the wing is also going to have a predominantly white area. I don't want it to get confused. Welcome, Narg, to the show. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the lurk. Hope all is well. Okay, yeah, this should go further out. I think we can. So let's actually just let it cross. We'll just lean into it. And we'll try to do something with like adding another line or something. think we want to get it like that and then like that. And now what I think we have to do here is make a black outline that actually goes around this. That's maybe even thinner. Yeah, and now we can do whatever we want. I'm going to put this back on 20 though. So now it's not going to intersect. That's good. Okay. Good. Let's give it a little breast like that. And maybe a second foot. Okay. Now we move on to the next side. That black and red and white is so cool. Okay. We won't think about it too much yet. So let's say left, top, right. And let's make a group for that. Left birds, I'll make right birds. This is the part where it could get very, disorganized. So we'll try and keep it pretty much under control. For all these birds, I want to have the ability I want to have the bottom of the bird in. I don't want it to be cut off. I don't really want anything to be cut off by the edge of the frame. Good. Harbird, bottom left, and I'll just make that capital B. Okay. The way that they drew these birds on this pottery, it almost kind of feels like snakes a lot of times when you're drawing it, especially in the neck. It's a cool style. Alright, so we'll make him a little shorter here just so that he doesn't get cut off. Okay. Our bird middle. Which one do I want to do for this? Yeah, it's like at this point I can't tell which ones I used for inspiration for each specific bird. So I'm just picking a pattern from one of the birds to try and go for. Ultimately, they're going to be our own designs, really, so it doesn't matter. It's just like I want to try and stick to whatever I was trying to do at the time. so this wants to go more like this, and then like this. Yeah. Good. Oh, and this guy has a really cool sort of striped thing happening. There's like a white stripe that goes right through this whole image. Okay. Oh yeah, and then this thing goes like, oh cool, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things going on with this one. This one has one big line that goes like this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, and then yeah, okay, good. Great. Okay. So we're gonna do our own version for this wing. I'm not even gonna follow what I drew here. No, we don't want to do it like that. Right, this is what we want. Okay. Good. Great. So we're almost done with these birds, and then we can start filling in the figures. Oops. Harvard top right. Oh, you know what? This one I'm pretty sure was supposed to be influenced by the one that I just pulled influence from, but we'll pick a different one. This one's pretty cool. It does like a perfect oval almost. Good. Yeah, we were just turning this into a totally different bird than the one that I drew for the composition. But that's the thing, is that those rough drawings, you can't get too attached to it. It's not, you know, it's just there to make the composition and make sure that the composition looks okay, as in like the general layout of everything. But you don't want to get too attached where it's like, okay, this has to look like the rough drawing, because you know it's just a quick sketch. Okay. This one's really cool too. The artwork that the Greeks produced was so cool. I really, doing this project and, you know, kind of pulling up so much Greek pottery for inspiration, it really does, it's just gotten me very excited about this art form. And they utilize such strong shapes, and they didn't really conform to kind of like human anatomy when it didn't serve them. And that's something that's very hard for me in my own art to do. And I think this has probably helped me kind of break out of the conventional. So it's been a useful project in many ways, I guess. I like that they depict the legs of the birds, which isn't really something I would have expected they would do, because they don't, they're very selective about what they're showing, and the legs you wouldn't think would be really necessary, but it's kind of cool that they did. Okay, so we're on to the final bird here. And this one's pretty cut and dry as far as which one I was using for inspiration. I can see it exactly. So let's see what we got. This one's interesting because the entire head is black. And there's no distinction for the beak. But then the entire neck is white. Oh wait, this doesn't matter because it's all going to be white anyway. Yeah, this one's cool. This is like an entirely white bird for a large part of it, which definitely makes it stand out. Yeah. This one we don't have to really make outlines because it's going to get filled in with white anyway. They kind of made it so that this one has a much larger wing on this side than it does on the other side. And in perspective, it doesn't necessarily make sense, but I appreciate, again, the fact that they sort of like choose not to conform to the traditional representational sort of rules. So yeah, this has a white section that comes in here and goes throughout the rest of the whole bird. And we'll fill that in with a bigger thing later. Good. Okay. And we'll make whatever we're trying to make here. Good. Now we'll get a bigger brush. And we'll fill this stuff in. Welcome, Frost Fairy, to the show. Looks great. Thank you, Frost. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're making this picture for chapter 2 of the book. Oh, wait, we do need to put this wing, the feathers of this wing in. Okay, yeah. We're going to put these into this group, and we're going to name that. Top left, this bottom part is going to be the fill. Yeah, so now we start filling stuff in. Oops. And let's get a big ol' thing. What are you up to today, Frost? This this app is supposed to have a function where you can, where you can hold this, damn it. Where you can hold the screen with your finger and then paint with the brush, and it makes it an eraser, but it really doesn't work very often. I don't even know why I keep trying to do it, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, so now I want to cut some stuff away from this. And just maybe make some sharper shapes. See, it's hard to see where, oops. It's hard to see where it's loose when you're drawing with that white on a, light background. Frost saying nothing really, enjoying the few days off. Son graduates kindergarten on Thursday. Congratulations. That's exciting. Oh crap. Is he pretty pumped for that? There we go. Yeah, that's good. Let's give it some dots. Okay, good. Oops. Okay. Good. So we're going to take this red and start making red parts. We want to make sure that it's not perfectly filling in spots, or it's like kind of going outside the lines. That's sort of the feel of this. Whatever they did with this red, it felt very loose. And that's one of my favorite things about it. I want to try and capture that. And do we want to make these red? No, I like it being black. Good. Rossan, I am proud of him. COVID or remote school, he did very well. Yeah, it's a new frontier. I've never done any remote schooling. I guess a lot of kids are going to be, that's like the baseline for them. Who are growing up now. Bill. This is so much better than doing that lasso thing I did on the previous picture. But you keep going and you learn new stuff, and that's how it goes. Gets faster as you go forward. Oh, damn this thing. Eraser, go. Oh, god damn it. It just doesn't work. Maybe I have to not have my, the heel of my hand on the tablet, but that's just not realistic. I was saying maybe it doesn't like you. Yeah, there's always that. The thing is learning. It's sentient. Okay, so for this one, we got a pretty cool, thing that we can do. Red. Good. Take this. Actually, let's take both of these colors so we don't have to keep switching them. I don't know how it's going to help us, but we'll see. I want this one to go over the outline. Maybe not. And this bird has like a really nice red underside, although I might be drawing a different bird. Hold on. Oh yeah, I'm drawing a different one. Whoops. Okay, where's this one that we're doing here? Ah, I see it. Okay, so it doesn't have this red. Put this here. It has this weird like tag on the side of it. Yeah, it's very weirdly satisfying to draw, to make something where it's specifically not filling in the shape. It like goes against every instinct I have, but that evokes the style more than filling it in. Okay, good. So now let's do MEMNON so we can actually see what the heck we're looking at. Black fill. This will be satisfying. So let's get rid of the guide layer now because we don't need that anymore. Ah, that's nice. Let's actually see what we're doing. Welcome Captain Tater to the show. Let's get an exclamation mark high for Captain Tater joining. I'm sure you get this a lot, but I found you through your podcast. I listened to it on my way to work. Finally able to catch you on stream. Love your work. Cool. Which podcast are you talking about? Which one did you come from? I'm glad you like it though, either way. And welcome on in. Okay, let's take the black fill. I'm pretty sure this is just actual black. And now we fill stuff in. Actually, this whole thing is going to be black, so we don't need to differentiate between the head and the shield. Yeah, I love the MEMNON design, which I can't really take credit for like coming up with this design of MEMNON because it's based on a famous Greek piece of pottery depicting Memnon. But I think that the artist who created this, you know, in 400 BC or whatever, it's just such a cool image. The way that he has this like raiment with all these stars on it, which obviously, since he's the son of the Eos, the goddess of dawn, sort of pretty well represents like the sunlight of the dawn, which I think is really cool. Oh, actually, all this is gonna get. Okay, let's just make a lasso of most of this. And these lines will get cleaned up later, the white parts that look a little shaggy, but that's not going to happen this round. We're going to do a final pass of cleanup after the book is finished, because then we will kind of normalize all of the images to look like each other. Because if I come up with like a new concept in like the 14th illustration, then we would have to go back and change all of them, unless we don't finish any of them now, and then we, do the final finishing touches at the end. All these Greek pieces of art, they always give these guys a big booty, and I try to stay true to that. Where is this coming from? It's from there. Nope, from there. Captain Tater saying, do you have multiple? I found you through the playbook. Cool. Let's get an exclamation mark hype in the chat. And anybody who doesn't know what, anybody who doesn't know what Captain Tater's talking about, the Twitch Playbook is a free weekly podcast I created to help you guys with your Twitch channels. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all the major podcast platforms. Thanks for listening. I'm glad you like the podcast. Yes, anyway, I do have multiple podcasts. I do another one, which is a daily podcast where I narrate the books that are found within video games. And that one's a lot of fun to do. Another of my passion projects. Frost getting the voice of Nick Webb in there. Thank you, Frost. I don't know why I just undid that. I gotta stop undoing when I go outside the lines, because I could just erase it. I don't need to actually undo it. Here. How is this not? Oh, I have a separate layer for the spear. So I think it's about time that I actually properly cut out this thing for the spear. It's been sitting like this the whole time. And now we should cut out his arm. And now we fill it in. Yeah, they never really depict hands in Greek pottery. Even this is kind of, I'm taking a little bit of a liberty and making it a little bit more, if you could believe it, more anatomically correct than theirs, because they usually make the hands really small and they're just a lump. They never really depict it. So I tried to keep it a lump, but I made it larger to more of like a normal size hand. Captain Tater saying, "You're a busy man. I'll have to see if you've done the Skyrim books yet. It's a saga in and of itself." Um, yeah, it's been a fun thing. We haven't done Skyrim on there yet, or any of the Elder Scrolls games. I only do ones that I've already done on stream, and I haven't played up to Skyrim yet in Elder Scrolls. I've played maybe like 50 hours of Skyrim when it came out, but I've actually never finished it either. But we did recently just play Elder Scrolls 1 Arena from 1993 or whatever. So that one might come up on it eventually. But so far we've done all the books in the Witcher base game, or Witcher 1, 2, and 3 base games, and then Bloodborne is the current one that's going right now. Yeah, the books within the Elder Scrolls games, though, are definitely some of my favorite in-game text in anything. I love the way that those are written. There's a lot of legendary stories about the process of writing those books, too, especially in Morrowind. The guy who did the lore for the Morrowind books, there's this story of him like locking himself in a room for several days with like no food or drink and like just writing these crazy tomes. I forget which books they were in Morrowind, but they were supposed to be written by like somebody who I think was like going insane in the writing of the book, and so he wanted to like almost like method act his way into doing it. Yeah, I'm excited to do the Elder Scrolls series on that in the books and games stuff. So let's make it a little smaller though, because it was getting a little bit hard to manage. Another instance where I kind of took a creative liberty with the proportions on these Greek imageries is that they always make the feet huge. Like the foot goes out to like here, and it's got like every little contour of the foot, and it just looks so weird to me to do that, and so I just kind of chose to make the foot a little bit more manageable. Yeah, even this one's getting a little large foot-wise. Oh yeah, I love the look of these black figure Greek pieces. They're so cool. I'm gonna have to adjust the shield now that I'm looking at it though, because that's kind of the roughest part of this one. The circle of the sun looks lumpy, but I like the lumpiness of that because the actual Greek pottery imagery always has that kind of lumpy look because they didn't have like tools to make it look exactly circular when they drew or painted them. So I'm wondering if I should make this black or white. Let's see what would happen if we did this with a black fill. It looks kind of cool. It's a little weird because it's like the sun, so I don't know, it's like weird for it to be black, but I mean, it's not exactly supposed to be 100% representational either way. Whoops. Yeah, I'm really happy with the concept for this chapter because I was worried that it was going to look too close to what the Penthesilea chapter was. And I was trying to come up with other interesting ideas, but none of them really felt right. It's hard with this to come up with an idea that actually feels like something that would be, in that it would actually have been Greek pottery, because a lot of our compositions and, for example, the perspective has to be from the side, which already eliminates a lot of potential, interesting looks. Whoops. Whoa, what happened? Oh, I almost... Why is it doing this? The disk copy of this was changed. You want to save anyway. Let's just save it as a copy, I guess. Are we good to go? I think so. Yeah, so, and then there's like a lot of, like I was gonna do one where it was like a helmet on a spear, like after the battle type of thing, but it felt too modern of a concept. Like I don't think it would really, I've never seen any Greek pottery that looks like that, and it didn't feel like Greek pottery to me, so I scrapped it. But we ended up with, I think, my favorite version, so I'm glad about that. Oh yeah. The black sun is way cooler than the inverse version of it. An interesting thing that I used to think when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to think that the Trojan War was a part of Greek history. Like I thought that was like a war that really happened. But the Trojan War is mythology. It's not. Not only did it not necessarily happen, at least not the way that it, if it did, it not probably not the way that it's told in the stories. But not only did it not necessarily happen, but it also, nobody even knows where Troy was supposed to be. Troy itself was not even necessarily real. Like scholars are kind of like not even sure where it was supposed to be located, which really threw me for a loop when I found that out years ago. Yeah, the story of the Trojan War is obviously really great. That's what this whole book, um, focuses on, is the end of the Trojan War. And what's really interesting, because the Iliad already starts, this is a sequel to the Iliad, and the Iliad starts at the end of the Trojan War as well, um, in the ninth year of it. And originally, it was part of a like cycle of poems or like epic stories that told the entire story of the Trojan War. But every other story besides the Iliad and this one, Posthomerica, which came out, a couple centuries afterwards, so it doesn't really count. But like every story besides the Iliad of that era was lost. So that's why there's just like no other ones that are a part of that cycle. There are other stories that exist that tell of the events of like what happened before the Iliad in the Trojan War, but they're not like part of that poem cycle. And it really is like one of those things where if I had a time machine, that would be like, other than like obviously, going back to stop bad things from happening, like that would be one of the top 5 like scholarly things that I'd be interested to go back and find, like see what all those stories were, because it certainly we're missing out on a lot. Okay, so we have Memnon and the sun filled in there. It's looking pretty cool. Let's take a look if we want to maybe fill him in with a little bit of red. And this is all kind of conjecture at this point. There's a couple pieces of red on Memnon's image, but not that much. So let's see what we can get here. Let's try and do some cool stuff. The red on Memnon as well is a different, the birds are from a totally different piece of artwork in the original stuff. Like I'm pulling from like 8 different pieces of pottery to form like one cohesive, hopefully cohesive concept. Yeah, like the sun is from a different thing than Memnon, which is from a different thing than the birds and all sorts of stuff. But his red is a little different, so let's hope that it feels cohesive when it all comes together. Let's see, maybe his thing here for one. That's kind of the obvious choice, I guess, but it does look pretty good. I put these little dots on his helmet too, which I think look okay. Like the weld marks or whatever. We're gonna have to fix his eye eventually. So in the image, he has red here. What's it doing there? Yeah, it's like that, but I want it to be a little bit smoother than this. I think it's cool that his armor sort of echoes. I mean, this is kind of a general theme in Greek, warrior artwork, is that they have this sort of swirl on the breastplate. But in our stuff, nobody else besides Achilles, so far at least, has had the swirl. So the idea, because he is kind of like a match for Achilles, he's like roughly of equal strength to Achilles in the story. And I like that sort of evokes that idea. Let's give this thing a little red highlight or something. I'm kind of just coming up with my own ideas for where the red goes, because there's not that much red on him in the original. And I'm trying to conform to that thing too of like not actually filling in the entire shape. Because yeah, they didn't necessarily do that. Okay, good. We did fill in the head thing. I don't love that. I'm gonna take that out. It's too conspicuous. Maybe just put like a flourish. Yeah, something like that. Kind of like these the breastplate where it traces the bottom edge, but it doesn't actually do the whole thing. Yeah, it's better. Okay. They gave him red, whatever this is called, the greaves. There's also a pretty cool design on his, I don't know what these are called, leg thingies. I think greaves are for the wrists. Interestingly, he only has the red on one of his, but I'll put it on both, I guess. Damn it. Okay, and then there's a lot of red on his shield because the whole inner part of his shield is red. But I don't think that's gonna work. It's gonna be too much. So let's see what happens. It's going to be easier to just cut it out with the eraser than to actually trace this thing. Yeah, when you zoom in on these lines, you can see that they're a little rough. So that's the kind of stuff we're not going to clean up now because large parts of the image might change eventually, and we don't want to get bogged down by that. So this is interesting because these parts are kind of just not in red. They're just like traced around them like that. this hand is mine, and I tried to follow the kind of general visual rule of not detailing the hand that they do, but it's way more detailed already than they would have done. I just can't stand making the hand like a blob. Like their hand is like a well, on this shield it's blocked because there's another Achilles shield is blocking this part of his shield, but like they never show the inner part of a hand grasping something, maybe because they didn't want to draw them. But yeah, I just made like a basic thumb grabbing thing. Yeah, it does look pretty good. Okay, we'll keep it red. Yeah, we'll do the rest of it. I didn't want it to overpower the image, but it kind of creates a good focal point to draw the eye into the shield and then radiate out towards the rest of the picture, which is what I think the headband was working against it in that way, because you didn't necessarily want to be looking at that right off the bat. And then this part, it looks like I didn't erase the shield circle. There we go. I just want to get rid of that part. Okay, this too. Shield circle, because this is overlapping that, so you want to get rid of that. And then shield details, I'm going to get rid of that. These kind of details we're going to fix later anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Cool. Let's put some red on his collar. No, I don't like that. Maybe in the center. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. I don't think we need the red to be on the sun beams. Do we want that? If these were red, if these were red instead of this, it could be good, but I think it's better if the most red thing is the shield. So let's do this. See what that looks like. What's going on? Oh, it needs to be over this. Yeah, I think the black sun is better. Good. we want to make his feet touch the ground of the sun thing. I guess we might as well do that now. So the right, well, let's do his left foot first. Let's just do this. Yeah, I'm happy so far though. We don't want this to be rotated because we notice that it crashes more often when the rotation is used. And also let's fix this sun thing so that we can really make sure that it touches the edge. There you go. Whoa. We also want to give the impression, there we go, yeah, that's good. Sorta. So let's do this and good. Now with this other one, we're going to have to do a little bit of trickery here to make it fit. Oh, welcome Azana Akane to the show. Yeah, I don't think there's a follow age, but I'm pretty sure Twitch has it built in now. You can just click on it, on your name rather. Since January 30th, 2019. Welcome on in. What are you up to, Azana Akane? Oh, you're on mobile? Okay, well, I guess I answered it for you then. Since January 2019. Good stuff. What is going on with you? We're currently working on artwork for our book. Yes, we wanted to touch the thing like that, and then we'll sort of fix all the crap that happens because of it, like this and this. Okay, and then, yeah, let's Let's just do a quick little cleanup on this. I switched to a little bit of a harder brush, kind of in the middle of putting down the shapes on MEMNON, and it when you zoom in, it makes it kind of apparent that I probably should have gone back and redone all the lines. Now this might be a little too large, these dots. We'll see when we zoom out. Kind of like them. Zona is saying, you remember playing Tomb Raider? Yeah, I remember. You were here for a bunch of games, though. Yeah, a few Souls games, Tomb Raider, a few of them. Good to see you. I'm still working on my Japanese language skills. 最近、日本語を勉強しています。でも、まだ上手じゃありません。Yeah, I like this less conspicuous dots. I think that's better. I can't get it to stay on the eraser tool. It's so frustrating. It would be nice to have a little outline for this red thing, even though I said that I wasn't going to do that. Maybe we can have this lip be black. And then the inner part is red. Oops. I'm going to erase it from here. Let's see how that looks. Versus this. Yeah, it's better, I think. Okay. Because the red kind of felt a little lonely in there before. Yeah, it just feels like a blob sitting on the page. Oops. Did the same thing. Save it. If nothing else, this beta software, because this app, Astro something, is made for Mac, but they have like a beta version for PC, and it crashes Photoshop pretty often. I'm surprised, honestly, knock on wood, that it hasn't crashed Photoshop this whole episode. But it's really made me get pretty good about just saving all the time. Noticing that this line should probably be cleaned up here. Oops. Yeah, make that one round buttock. Very nice. Okay, so we have the shield. I would like to do, okay, let's do a notes layer just to keep track of stuff we want to fix and add. Let's just make like a green marker or something. Let's make this really big. Add little dots to edge of shield. I think that we could get some kind of too simple. It's like a large thing that doesn't have any detail on it. The sun we don't really need to fix right now. Honestly, I don't think there's that much we want to do. Because we don't want it to get it totally done. So we don't want to like perfectly fix all the problems now, but we should definitely fill in everything. What else? Oh, want to add some details for pant. What else? Fix the eye. Good. Obviously we want to fill in all the birds, but I don't think that we need to write that down. Oh, I want to add to shield, whatever that's called, band. Add muscles to arm, because we didn't put any of the muscles on that arm like we did on his right arm. Ah. Fix eye. Okay. And what else? Looking from afar. I think that's about it. As for stuff that would get changed in this first round. Yeah. I would put some kind of breastplate needs edge by shoulder. And we'll put an arrow to here too. Okay, yeah, good. But without these notes, it's looking pretty cool. We got some birds in there. I think the color spectrum is very much on point. I think the general composition is good. It's filling the space very well. We're doing it without a border this time because of the way that the Kindle formats the images. The border would actually make it look worse. So that's nice because we don't have to do the extra work for the border. Eventually I would want to make the circle of the sun a little bit more regular, but not too much. Honestly, I think it's just about there because it should look a little lumpy to match the kind of aesthetic we're going for. Yeah, we're in a good spot. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for the artwork episode this time. Thank you for joining. The channel's called The Voice of Nick. If you want to see more, don't forget to hit the follow button, and I'll post a link to the project in the chat here. This artwork is for an edition of the Posthomerica, which is a book that I'm publishing my own edition of with illustrations like this one and annotations. We're also producing an audiobook, actually producing it live on stream, which will then, when it's finished, be available on Audible. So keep your eyes out for all that stuff. The link will bring you to my Audible narrator page if you want to see where the book will end up when it's finished. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.